Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia Hoeltgen. I lead strategic program and project management at Quickbase, and I've been here a little bit over a year, maybe a year and a half. I'm excited to be here at Empower today with Dalan Winbush. This is a chance to pull back the curtain and shed some light on our internal initiative to become our own customer. So, hi, Dalan.
Good seeing you. I'm Dalan Winbush. I'm the CIO for Quickbase. I believe I've been here a little bit over past your time, so about a year and 7 or 8 months. So glad to see you again. I know we worked in the past, and you're still stuck with me. And yeah, I'm excited today to talk about how we at Quickbase we use Quickbase internally and be able to share some of the things, our learnings, and some of where we're headed.
Yeah. So welcome everyone to our fireside chat. As a reminder, we'll be answering questions live after this session. So please remember to put your questions in chat and we'll be happy to answer those after we talk through this. So Dalan, I know like you said, we've worked together kind of a long time, starting at another company and now here together at Quickbase. And we get to work together on technology implementations and operational improvements and strategic projects, which leads me to the first thing I want to talk about, Quickbase at Quickbase or Customer Zero. Yeah, tell us a little bit about this initiative.
Yeah, certainly. And I think we've been very intentional around our strategy, and we wanted to leverage our own internal system, Quickbase at Quickbase, which again we name it Customer Zero because we are the first customer to use Quickbase. And sometimes it feels like patient zero, depending on how you're looking at it. Sometimes it's as well. And we really just need to be able to leverage our own tool, solve our own complex problems internally, and really position our tool to be the mortar between some of these big bricks and point systems that we have within the environment as well. And we have some of the same challenges. We're not a unicorn. We're no different than any other organization. We have real technology and process problems internally. And some of those challenges, like many, are fragmentation of systems with data that make it really difficult to really efficiently run and operate your business and our business. And we consistently find ourselves as well managing processes in email, spreadsheets, SharePoint, other collaborative tools that are out there. And we call that gray work. And we've created some of that gray work ourselves. And we're trying to burn that down by leveraging Quickbase at Quickbase. And really, at the end of the day, we need to be able to drink our own champagne, tell our own story, be our own use case that we can share with the rest of our customers as we engage with them.
Yeah, I know for me, coming to Quickbase, I was just struck by how many applications we do leverage to run our business on a day-to-day basis. Everything from procurement to managing some of our assets, our IT assets. There's so many use cases for Quickbase here. So I'd love to talk a little bit more about your perspective as an IT leader, having been in IT for a long time, coming into Quickbase and seeing how we were using it. Can you kind of talk through the baseline where we started?
Yeah. So where we really started, and this is kind of just an ongoing theme across the market, and especially at Quickbase, is technology is being democratized. It's getting closer to the business. It's shifting right. And a lot of times we call this shadow IT or anything else like that. And as a result of that, people want technology. They want solutions fast, right? And because technology is becoming easier, the business is starting to leverage more technology without the use of IT, right? We're more of a consultative partner and not just a technology driven partner. And data is being extracted and used in Excel. It's being used in other data sources, and other citizen development tools are also starting to be more common in the workplace now, right? And the second part is, again, we mentioned shadow IT at citizen development tools kind of driving that. And over the last 20 years, from my perspective, with the full lineage of Quickbase, we've built up a lot of conceptual debt because we've been using our own tool that's been ungoverned. Primarily the business was the one who was governing the tool, but not necessarily from an IT practice perspective with all the different utilities and frameworks that we use like ITIL or ITSM to really manage and govern the environment. And so when we talk governance, we use P's, internally, and governance is really around process, policies, and people, and combining those drives really a safe and compliant environment, to maintain a safe development practice, across the organization.
Yeah, I think you hit on a couple of things. One is that business-led innovation, the ability for people to, as the business, kind of drive to build solutions quickly. Governance is the other, and a lot of times those two things can be or seem like they're in conflict anyway. So I know for us with Customer Zero, one of our major objectives is to showcase the major value we're getting out of our own product, so that we can go to our customers and discuss it ourselves. But we also are wanting to showcase how IT can help keep systems well managed using Quickbase applications. So I guess let's dive in a little bit deeper for folks on this. What are we trying to learn, would you say, as we're going through this initiative?
Yeah, so I think what we're trying to learn is, how do we maximize Quickbase, the value of Quickbase internally, right? I mean, it's a very powerful tool. You can do a lot with it, but we want to make sure that we position it in the right place and showcase it, in the right manner too. So being able to extract that value internally is something that we're learning today compared to when we were a much, much smaller organization. Now we're a large enterprise, right? So those have some different nuances there. And so as we do that, we also need to think about, how do you manage a citizen development platform, right? That is becoming a big theme, and hoping to show how IT can keep all of those systems well managed, including Quickbase and all the applications inside of Quickbase, and be able to manage those and govern those as well. And then I think that the third thing too is, more importantly, because, again, we talked about, and I'll just bring it up again, we talk about the democratization of technology and the business leveraging tools more frequently without IT's knowledge is really positioning IT now as a partner and not blocking innovation. I don't want to be the department of no. Sometimes people avoid IT or avoid, the security team, but it's really about building that relationship so that we can help the business govern the assets that they are creating within Quickbase. So there's a lot of learnings there that we're trying to take to the market. And I've talked to several customers about this exact same topic in our sales team, and bringing IT along the journey, not at the end when we're signing the papers, right? But bring us along through ideation, right? So that we can help manage those conversations and expectations on how we govern Quickbase inside of an organization. So that's really about the learnings. What we're trying to do is, again, establish governance without being the department of no, and being a blocker of innovation.
Yeah, right. I think there's a couple of key things you probably want to hit on in terms of what we're doing with this initiative to do exactly that. So how are we taking ourselves from where we're at today to a governed environment? What are some of the key ways we're doing that?
Yeah, let's talk about let's talk about the current state, right? So one of the biggest nightmares is looking at the canvas and what IT has to manage. And right now we're sitting at about 30,000 total apps inside of Quickbase, right? It's kind of mind-blowing on how we actually got there over 20 years, and it's accumulated over 20 years, right? And about 3%, roughly about 1,000 of those applications are being used on a regular basis throughout the year. And then as we start to burn that number down, then we really start identifying, like, where's the most value coming out of these applications. And it's might be 20 to 25 applications. And some of these applications us manage procurements, right? From software and vendors, and managing our employee lifecycle, not just the employee, but contingent workers, contractors, interns as well. And then lastly, talking to the product house and John and Debbie's team, product escalations are being managed as well within the tool. So we're finding value in some of these tools. We just have to figure out how to clean up our environment and actually put some governance in place so that we can tell our own story. And it's a continuum, right? Governance isn't just a one-time thing. It's constantly going on and on and on. And we really need to go from which is our current state, from a business-led, right? But we need to append that to business-led to IT-led governance, while the business continue to be innovative and really take advantage of that too. So that's what we're trying to do. That's the and the to, and we're still in the journey. We're not done. We have not ran into the end zone and spiked the football just yet.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, it's 20 years, right? It's been 20 years worth of applications that have been built up. And I know the teams right now, they're even going through an exercise of defining the criteria for what should be kept and what should be cleaned up. So those are some of the steps we're taking. We hear from customers all the time. What are you doing to solve this governance problem? So that's a little bit of what you're unpacking now. But we also hear from customers a lot about use cases and really what are the core use cases Quickbase has found to be those golden, really excellent use cases of our own application. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, certainly. So I'll definitely, from an IT lens, because that's the life I live. So I mentioned again, we orchestrate a lot of our business processes and workflows. I mentioned employee lifecycle management, how IT is involved with the HRIS system. We have many systems to manage our employees, just like any other customer. So managing that human capital can be very tricky, from approval all the way, onboarding to offboarding, and then all of the entitlements and systems and groups that they belong to. And we want to make that a frictionless experience, right? So we're able to manage 5 personas, full-time, part-time contractors, what have you, by orchestrating those. The other ones are managing and tracking IT assets through an IT asset management platform, and how that gets converted into a CMDB, which is a configuration management database, and really marries the assets and the relationship between the two, so that we can have a very robust change management process, right? So we're actually managing our change management within Quickbase. As assets change, just like any other organization, we're able to manage those inside of Quickbase today, and also being able to leverage and extend the value that we have of Jira. We do use other platforms internally, but we're helping extend the value where these point systems aren't able to really reach out as extensive as we need to. The second part is really just saying, connecting, and controlling about how we manage the IT and the applications and the users are being utilized, and really getting observability. It's one of the biggest challenges to an IT organization, and I think any technology organization, is getting observability of your full landscape and being able to manage those things. And we're actually being able to connect and control a lot of our assets, the users, the applications, through a Quickbase application.
Yeah, right. So employee lifecycle management was one of those key use cases. The tracking and management of IT assets through that CMDB is another use case. You mentioned also the applications and the way that we can actually see and control our own Quickbase environment as well. And I know the team's working on and building out a solution for that. Can you unpack that a little bit more?
Yeah, certainly. It's a big project. Again, we're not completed with it. But really what we're trying to do is, we have 3 to 5 different systems for ingestion, right? So when we go through annual planning, we get approvals for different recs. Some of those recs are contractors. Some of those recs are going to be in different geos, right? In different other parts of the world. And then we have our US full-time employees. There are multiple systems that these recs have to go into to be able to provision them from a HR perspective, entitle them with their identity so that we can populate and cascade those downstream. And if you think about it, you don't want to join an organization and you don't have a laptop, you don't have your email, you don't have the right access, you're missing meetings because you have the wrong distribution lists, you're in the wrong hierarchy. Like, all of these things happen to every organization, and we've been struggling with this for a long time. And then just the other side of it is, when you do offboard, we want to make sure that we're offboarding you and your device from a clean perspective. So there are different forks in the road depending on what human capital we're managing. And even from a compliance perspective, we need to make sure that we have a clean slate that we're working with. So that's been like the bulk of been trying to get through over the last year. I would say we're about 90% there. We still have some corners that we need to round out. And then hopefully we can take what we've done internally and be able to socialize that with some of our other customers, where we're hearing the same sort of same use cases that they need to solve for. So hopefully packaging that up, going out and talking about, our own use case and being able to talk through some of our challenges, I think is going to be a win for another customer.
Yeah. So the friction being the multiple applications, those multiple different environments where these employee lifecycle activities are happening, and Quickbase really bringing it all together into that one solution as that mortar between the bricks.
Absolutely.
Some of the other use cases that I've heard folks talking about that are really solid ones for us internally. I know I recently talked to our revenue operations team. They have a series of applications, Quickbase apps that they use for things like AR aging, real-time monitoring of outstanding receivables. They have a sales quoting tool that they've built that integrates with our CRM platform. So there's just so many use cases that we're finding. And to your point, if we can get our governance in order, if we can ensure that we're able to track and see and control also how we're using Quickbase as an organization and how the data points are being connected. That's kind of the power. I think that's the power of the initiative.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought those other use cases up, and we could probably sit here for another hour talking about all of the, I kind of threw the number out there, right? The 25 or 30 applications that we're really getting a lot of value from. But I think, I think what you just brought up really means that it's just not an IT tool. The business is using it. It's extending across different functions, and we're finding value in it as well.
Okay, so we're finding value across all of our internal applications. And as we look to other industries, I know we see potential value and things that we could bring internally too, ideas we could bring internally to use Quickbase even better as customer zero. I know we're looking at ways in professional services where maybe we could leverage Quickbase to manage time and resource reporting. We have some things on our roadmap around bringing physical and digital assets internally. More about that, I guess. What else can we share about industries, things we're seeing?
Yeah. There's a lot of different complex problems that are out there. So we've seen some applications being developed to automate complex processes, from handling customer requests, managing inventory. We kind of talked a little bit about like IT inventory, but we would talk about from a manufacturing perspective can be very complicated. We've also seen, the reducing of and this really reduces the burden on IT and accelerating more digital capabilities. And then we've seen some other applications being built to track parts through the manufacturing process, managing complex assemblies, right? Multiple parts need to be assembled to develop a product. And these allow the workers who are the closest to the problems to be able to build processes around the tool, and have the tool supporting the process to help design their solution significantly enhances their operations. And then from a non-IT staff perspective, no-code, low-code solves a lot of these business problems rapidly, right? So we could probably see these in multiple verticals, whether that's healthcare, finance, some of our financial institutions, all the way to telecom, right? So we do see some of these same use cases, which we call the 5x5, right? These use cases can easily be converted over to different industries as well.
Yeah, complex problems, right? We're not a unicorn, like you said earlier. We're absolutely, just like other companies, solving complex problems. We are able to do that with Quickbase, and I think one of the other key things we're working on as part of this initiative is, because we want to do governance. We are thinking about our criteria too for when we decide it should be a Quickbase application, when we decide it should be integrated with some other source systems. I think part of the challenge for anyone that's going on a journey like we're going on is going to be those criteria, in taking those requests, and then monitoring the applications that we design.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we really think about our future state, we talked a lot about where we're at today, what we want to achieve as like our North Star. And if we really think about, where we want to really take this journey for future state, again, we haven't spiked the football yet, is really living our truth, removing the gray work out of our organization, which really, living in countless different email chains and spreadsheets, as we mentioned. And that's our North Star, right? And we kind of have a phrase that we've been using and really being able to tell the story around business-led innovation that's IT trusted and governed. And that's really what Quickbase is all about, right? And being able to really feel that conviction, and being able to connect all the different tissue between our systems, our core systems that we have in the environment. And so as we, and again, we keep beating this drum, because this is the secret sauce for success for Quickbase, is establishing governance tools, leveraging the tools within the platform, leveraging the best practices that our professional services teams share with our customers. And so we're doing that as well, right? We're leveraging the same tools, the same best practices that we share with our larger enterprises. And we've actually stood up a steering committee. Quickbase is not an IT tool. We talked about democratization, the business leveraging more citizen development tools. This is a company tool, right? So we've developed a steering committee internally to make sure that if we do have an RFP or we do want to solve a problem, let's get the committee together and really analyze, like, okay, number one, what's the scope? What are we trying to solve for? And then what use case are we trying to solve for? And does Quickbase solve that problem? Or are we trying to bend Quickbase around something that it really doesn't fit in that arena, right? We want to be the mortar around all the bricks and bring things together. So we have this committee together so that we can really understand some of those unique use cases where Quickbase really drives and adds value, where again, these point systems just don't do that. And so part of this team is also the security team, right? The GRC teams and compliance. We want to make sure again that what we're putting together is really addresses some of the same things that we do with other systems with the security team. And so once we have these controls in place, and once we connect Quickbase to our central source of truth, right? We have a enterprise data warehouse, right? We want to be able to connect Quickbase into that data warehouse securely, and really enrich the application building experience for our end users, where they have access to corporate data and being able to orchestrate any processes through the organization.
Yeah, I love what you said. It's not an IT tool, right? It's a business tool. It provides that opportunity for business-led innovation. I get to sit on that steering committee, and it's a great group of folks across the company, folks from IT, folks from security, folks from product, folks from our go-to-market functions, people who are coming up with the use cases for Quickbase, but then also people who have expertise in Quickbase and how it should be used, and expertise in our other source applications. So it's going to be a really good journey, I think, especially once we get those controls in place. So I guess with that, maybe let's start to talk about the conclusion. Like you said, we've got a long journey ahead of us. What other things would you want to say, Dalan, to leave folks with?
Yeah. Final tips. I like to keep things in threes as much as possible, easy for people to remember, right? So again, Quickbase as the mortar, number one. The second, the secret sauce to any Quickbase application in your environment is going to be governance. The governance is key. Without that, there's going to be a lot of challenges and other conceptual debt that we're even having to untangle internally. And then I think the last one is strong relationships with IT. Yes, we are the department of no at sometimes, but we're also there to also consult and help make sure that Quickbase can be successful in our own environment and within your environment. So please don't shy away from IT. Think of us as a strategic partner so that you can also be successful with Quickbase.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dalan. This has been a great conversation. Appreciate it.
Been great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Alicia.